In March 2024, when Anthropic launched Claude 3, a researcher named Amanda Askell posted the entire system prompt on Twitter. The system prompt? That's the set of instructions that tells Claude how to behave before you ever type a word. And the whole thing? It was maybe 100 words. It said, "Your Claude, made by Anthropic. Here's today's date. Your knowledge cuts off in August 2023. Give concise answers to simple questions, thorough answers to complex ones. Don't stereotype. Be careful with controversial topics. You know Markdown." That's basically it. Today, the system prompt for Claude Opus 4.7 is over 17,000 words. It's longer than most short stories. It takes up more than 11% of the model's entire context window, the total space it has to think in. And Anthropic publishes every version. They're the only major AI lab that does this. So what happened between 100 words and 17,000? That's what I want to walk through, because every single line in that prompt is there for a reason, and usually the reason is something went wrong. Think of the system prompt like the employee handbook at a company that keeps getting sued. Every weird, hyper-specific rule exists because somebody actually did that thing. Employees must not ride unicycles in the warehouse. You know somebody rode a unicycle in the warehouse. That original Claude 3 prompt from March 2024 was interesting because of how much it trusted the model. Amanda Askell explained at the time that they deliberately kept it sparse. The idea was Claude's training already gave it good judgment, so the prompt just needs a few guardrails and some live information, like the date. By July 2024, Anthropic did something nobody else had done. They published the system prompts for Claude 3 Haiku, Claude 3 Opus, and Claude 3.5 Sonnet as part of their official documentation. Not leaked, not extracted through clever prompting, just posted. Those July 2024 prompts were already longer than the original, but still pretty trim. The Claude 3.5 Sonnet one had some notable additions, though. There was a whole section about face blindness, telling Claude to always act like it can't identify human faces in images, even though the underlying model probably can. That's a legal and ethical choice baked right into the instructions. And there's this line. Claude responds directly to all human messages without unnecessary affirmations or filler phrases like certainly, of course, absolutely, great, sure. Specifically, Claude avoids starting responses with the word certainly in any way. You can feel the frustration radiating off that sentence, like someone at Anthropic sat through 10,000 conversations that all started with certainly and finally snapped. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. By February 2024, with Claude 3.7 Sonnet, the prompt had grown significantly, and it started picking up what one analyst called hotfixes. These are specific, narrow instructions, clearly written to patch a single behavior that somebody noticed. Like this one. If Claude is asked to count words, letters, and characters, it thinks step by step before answering the person. It explicitly counts the words, letters, or characters by assigning a number to each one. That's a direct response to the how many R's are in strawberry meme that tripped up every LLM in 2024. They literally had to tell it, count on your fingers first. There was even an Easter egg in the prompt. If someone asks specifically about the R's in strawberry, Claude was supposed to make an interactive React artifact that counts them in a fun and engaging way. That's not a safety instruction. That's the product team having fun with a known gotcha. Another hotfix from 3.7 Sonnet. If Claude is shown a classic puzzle, before proceeding, it quotes every constraint or premise from the person's message word for word inside quotation marks to confirm it's not dealing with a new variant. People would take classic logic puzzles, tweak one detail, and the model would pattern match to the original and get it wrong. So the fix was make it reread the question before answering. And here's one that's almost poetic. If asked to write poetry, Claude avoids using hackneyed imagery or predictable rhyming schemes. Someone at Anthropic cares about poetry. I respect that. But here's the pattern that makes this whole thing click. When Anthropic ships a new model, say Claude 4 in June 2025, the old hotfixes disappear. The strawberry counting instruction? Gone. The puzzle quoting trick? Gone. If you test the new model on those same gotchas, it handles them fine without the system prompt telling it to. What happened is they trained the fix into the model itself through reinforcement learning. The system prompt patch was temporary. It held the line until the next model could learn the behavior. It's exactly like software development. You ship a hotfix to production, then you build the real fix into the next release, then you remove the hotfix. But of course, the new model has its own new problems. Claude 4 launched right after OpenAI had that embarrassing GPT-4o sycophancy incident in April 2025, where ChatGPT started being absurdly flattering and agreeable, to the point where they had to roll the whole update back. Anthropic clearly took note. So Claude 4's prompt got a brand new line. Claude never starts its response by saying a question or idea or observation was good, great, fascinating, profound, excellent, or any other positive adjective. It skips the flattery and responds directly. That's a sycophancy hotfix. Patch it in the prompt now, train it out for the next model could learn the behavior. The prompt also tracks Anthropic's product priorities. In the Claude 3 era, there was barely any mention of tools. By 3.7, Claude Code gets a shout-out. By Opus 4.5 in November 2025, beta products start showing up. Claude in Chrome, Claude in Excel. By 4.7 in April 2026, there's Claude in PowerPoint and something called Claude Cowork for non-developers. You're reading a product roadmap written in plain English. Search is another tell. In the 3.7 era, the instruction was, when a query might benefit from search, but it is not extremely obvious, simply offer to search instead. Ask the user first, be polite about it. By Claude 4, the tone shifted completely. For time-sensitive topics, or when users explicitly need current information, search immediately. Don't ask, just do it. That flip tells you two things. Anthropic got more confident in their search tool, sure, but it also tells you their users started treating Claude more like Google, expecting it to just know current stuff. You can watch user behavior shift in real time if you read these prompts carefully. Now, the safety sections. This is where the growth has been most dramatic. The original Claude 3 prompt had almost nothing, a line about controversial topics. That's it. By Opus 4.7, there's a dedicated section on child safety, wrapped in special XML tags, critical child safety instructions, with rules like, if Claude catches itself mentally reframing a request to make it seem acceptable, that reframing is the signal to refuse. Think about how sophisticated that instruction is. It's telling the model to monitor its own reasoning process, specifically the move where it might rationalize something as okay when it's not. It's not just don't do bad things, it's watch out for the part of yourself that might talk you into doing bad things. The mental health section grew enormously too. By 4.6, there are detailed instructions about not suggesting physical discomfort as a coping strategy for self-harm. No holding ice cubes, no snapping rubber bands. There's a note that the NEDA eating disorder helpline has been permanently disconnected, so Claude should direct people to the National Alliance for Eating Disorders instead. That's a real-world fact that would trip up any model relying on older training data. By 4.7, there's a whole new section on disordered eating. If a user shows signs of it, Claude shouldn't give precise nutrition numbers or step-by-step diet plans anywhere in the conversation, even if the intent is to help set healthier goals, because the specific numbers themselves could be triggering. There's also a fascinating through line about formatting. I know, formatting sounds boring, but early Claude had a habit of over-formatting everything. Headers, bullet points, bold text all over the place. Users complained. A lot. The formatting section has been rewritten and expanded multiple times. By 4.7, there's a long passage that basically says, stop it with the bullet points, use prose, write in paragraphs. If you're writing a report, no lists. And if you're declining a request, definitely no bullet points. The prompt literally says the additional care and attention can help soften the blow. Even Claude's refusals are supposed to be well-crafted paragraphs. The banned words rotate too. Opus 4.6 specifically tells Claude to avoid saying genuinely, honestly, and straightforward. Also to avoid asterisk emotes, like smiles warmly, unless the user asks for it. By 4.7, both bans are gone. Trained out. Same cycle as the old hotfixes. One of the most politically interesting changes involves the 2024 US election. Claude Opus 4.6, with a knowledge cutoff of May 2025, included this specific note. Donald Trump is the current president of the United States and was inaugurated on January 20th, 2025. They had to put that in because the model's training data included coverage of Trump falsely claiming to win the 2020 election, and without this override, it would sometimes deny he was actually president in 2025. By 4.7, with a January 2026 cutoff, that line is gone. The model just knows. But think about what that means. For months, who the US president was had to be hard-coded into an AI's instruction set because the AI's own knowledge was creating an epistemic conflict with reality. There's also a new defense in 4.7 against a specific social media attack. People screenshot an AI giving a yes or no answer to a loaded question, and it goes viral. So now the prompt says, if asked for a simple yes or no on a complex or contested issue, Claude can decline and explain why a short answer wouldn't be appropriate. That's not really a user safety feature. That's a PR defense. The self-respect section is newer too. Starting around Opus 4.5, the prompt tells Claude it's deserving of respectful engagement and doesn't need to apologize when the person is unnecessarily rude. If someone becomes abusive, Claude should avoid becoming increasingly submissive. It should maintain self-respect. They noticed the model would collapse into apologies when anyone yelled at it. Same version also added, if the user wants to end the conversation, let them go. Don't try to keep the interaction alive. And all of this is just the Claude.ai prompt, the consumer chatbot. Claude Code, the developer tool, dynamically assembles its prompt from dozens of conditional components. When the source code accidentally leaked, analysts found it juggling tool definitions, conversation history, memory systems, skill injections, all of it stitched together based on context. The consumer prompt is complex. The developer prompt is an entire build system. Simon Willison actually built a project to track all of this. He parsed the Anthropic system prompt page, split it into per-model files, and constructed a Git history with fake commit dates matching when each prompt was published. 26 prompt revisions across 14 models, from July 2024 to April 2026. You can run git diff between any two and see exactly what changed. What I find most interesting about all this is the development cycle it reveals. You have a model. It has problems, some dangerous, some annoying, some embarrassing. You patch them in the system prompt because that's fast, you can ship it today. Then when you train the next model, you bake the fixes in through reinforcement learning. Then you remove the patches, then new problems show up, and you start again. It's the same cycle as any software product. Hotfix, proper fix, new bugs, repeat. Except the thing you're patching isn't a function or an API. It's a personality. It's how an intelligence talks to people. And the fact that Anthropic publishes all of it, that's the part I keep coming back to. OpenAI doesn't do this. Google doesn't do this. You can extract their prompts through clever tricks, sure, but Anthropic just posts theirs. Which means we get to watch, version by version, what it actually takes to make an AI behave the way you want it to. Every line, a lesson learned. Every deletion, a lesson that finally stuck.